Welcome back. The House is set to vote this week on Reconciliation 3.0, the National Defense Authorization Act, a temporary government funding bill, and a congressional stock trading ban, all before leaving for the August recess. The House Budget Committee voting to advance the framework for Reconciliation 3.0, which outlines $95 billion in spending, $73 billion for defense and intelligence, $12 billion for agriculture, $10 billion allocated to the House Administration Committee, and that is to advance parts of the Save America Act. Joining me now is Virginia Congressman Ben Cline, a member of the House Budget and Appropriations Committees. Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for weighing in here.
Great to be back with you.
So you and your colleagues have just 4 legislative days on the calendar to pass the bill before the August recess. Do you expect it to get done?
We have a busy agenda, but at the top of the list is Reconciliation 3.0 with the SAVE Act, which is one of the president's priorities. So we want to get it done. We want to fund our troops. We want to help our farmers. We want to make sure we also get the job done with the SAVE Act. So we're optimistic it's going to pass.
How are you going to deal with the parliamentarian rules that you've got to show spending cuts dollar for dollar in terms of this reconciliation package? Do you have enough offsets in there, do you think?
Unfortunately, we don't, but what we're optimistic is that Chairman Ron Johnson, who's the new Senate budget chair, has indicated that he wants to put in offsets. So we're going to send him a clean slate that will enable him to craft offsets that will then hopefully come back and be accepted by the House.
And where would those be? I mean, you know, how do you look at this? I mean, you're on the Budget Committee. How do you look at this in terms of where the spending savings could be?
Well, there is a ton of fraud going on. If you look at Minnesota or other states around the country, you see fraud endemic in a lot of these government programs. Making sure that we clean those up is at the top of the list. And so part of that is things like work requirements. Part of that is income requirements, things that we can put in place as we have in Reconciliation 1.0. To make sure that these programs go to those for whom they are intended.
So what about this conversation about a 4th potential reconciliation plan? I mean, the House GOP leaders are already talking about the next package, which would include those spending cuts, the elimination of waste, fraud, and abuse, and identifying additional offsets, Congressman. Is that really in the cards, another reconciliation package?
I think that whether it's in the 3rd or the 4th, I think that you can talk about both. We're talking about a whole host of bills that we're trying to get done this week. And as you know, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. It's just that we have to keep our focus on the top priorities, and that is the NDAA to help our troops and Reconciliation 3.0 to make sure we get the SAVE Act across to the president's desk.
Yes, of course. We're talking about the NDAA because this is a critical moment. And we are also worried that perhaps we're going to see another government shutdown. I mean, your colleagues are set to vote on a stopgap funding bill to keep government funded through December 4th. Because you've got to think about avoiding another shutdown. Democrats are already threatening that at the end of September, when the current funding runs out, we will see another shutdown. That would be a 3rd in a year. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman joined me yesterday, and here's what he said about it. Watch.
They're talking about another shutdown. Now, that would put me at odds, with the Democratic Party. I will never vote to shut our government down. We have to find a better way. That's a core responsibility. And now the reasons why we shut our government down, whether it's health care or reforms with ICE, neither of those ever happened.
What are your thoughts, Congressman?
Well, Democrats' goal is maximum chaos. So they want to shut the government down ahead of the elections. They resisted in Reconciliation 2.0 over ICE. So we funded ICE through Reconciliation, which was party line. We can do that through other parts of the government. If the Democrats refuse to come to the table, reconciliation has to be an option. So we're going to keep that on the table. We're going to pass a CR and send it over to them, and hopefully they will pass it so that through the election, we fund the government and these important programs that are helping Americans across the country.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're trying to figure out what's going on the other side. The Democrats, a former Democrat Socialist of America member, is now warning that the DSA has become increasingly influenced by communist factions and is growing more accepting of Marxist ideals. They say some DSA members don't even consider lawmakers like Bernie Sanders or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as real socialists, Congressman. What do you think is happening on the other side of the aisle here with the Democrat Socialists of America? And I believe 35 of their candidates won races.
It's scary stuff to watch the takeover of the Democrat Party by socialists and those who are influenced by communist ideologies. It's happened on our campuses. It's happening in our Democratic Party, and it's influencing their selection of candidates. Now, we're just going to point out the extremism of socialism and the ideas that they're putting forward, like getting rid of the Senate, getting rid of the president, putting it underneath the Congress, putting it, getting the Supreme Court, getting rid of the Supreme Court. So this fundamental restructuring and throwing out the balance of power that has led our country for 250 years is at odds with the Democrat Socialists of America platform. So we're going to point that out to voters this fall, and how Democrat Party is increasingly being taken over by the DSA and at odds with the great majority of Americans.
Yeah, Tiana Lodesh was with us this morning. Tiana, weigh in here. It's pretty incredible how these DSA candidates keep getting elected. What does that say?
Yeah, and I think Democrats around the country are going to have to answer. You know, you see in Michigan someone like Abdul Sayed, who's very close to beating Chuck Schumer's caucus in this Democratic primary. He, on Jake Tapper over the weekend, couldn't defend the fact that he said that he didn't want to express solidarity with the fact that Hezbollah and the Ayatollah were taken out by the U.S. And so, you know, if he wins that primary, you're going to have the party answer for that. For Daria Litsa Chevalier in New York, answering for someone who cheered on October 7th and Hamas. Does the rest of the party back that sort of not just rhetoric but actual policy position?
Those are great questions, and the leadership in the Senate, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, have to speak out and defend our institutions, defend the rule of law against these radical ideologues who are really threatening nothing less than the destruction of our country. So they should reject these candidates outright.
Congressman, good to see you this morning. We'll be watching all of it. Thank you, sir. Congressman Ben Cline joining us. We'll be right back.